Welcome to the second edition of Encarando Supernatural Official. This is Davi. And my brother, I'm going to ask you to have strong nerves, have a strong stomach. It's going to be 4 tough minutes for you who are awake, right? Hearing so many lies all at once, but it's necessary. We're about to hear from our top representative. Whether we want it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we agree or not with what was done during the election, they took him straight out of jail. Whether we agree or not, he is our main representative, and what he does has international repercussions. It makes our lives harder here in the country, even affects our ability to leave the country. He has made statements, he has even taken some absurd sides, right? For example, the Brazilian media is now portraying Trump as the real aggressor against Iran, even though in Iran, if you declare that you are a Christian, they cut off your head. In Iran, a woman's tongue gets burned. We've already shown that here in a video, and it was a lot of work to do it, especially since YouTube doesn't allow graphic images, right? But we managed to find a way, and we were able to show it. The woman interrupted the man while he was speaking, and they came and used a hot iron, right? And put it on the woman's tongue, so she would learn not to interrupt anymore. So, it's this kind of guy, right, who cuts off a woman's clitoris because, according to them, she feels too much pleasure, and if they let her, there's a big chance they'll be cheated on, so they cut it off too. So, these are absurd things that happen, right? That's where the cradle of global evildoers is. The absurd bomb attacks on schools and daycares. That's where all of this comes from. Even so, they portray Trump as the aggressor. For example, the world just let the conflict spiral out of control. The United States asked neighboring countries for help, not because they need help from these guys to fight, but because they're in strategically important places, geographically speaking. Trump asked, look, we're going to need those bases you have there. It's close, it's strategic. No, we're not going to get involved. No. Yeah, you're on your own. Considering that a victory for the United States would benefit everyone, right? Cheaper oil and so on. So what did Trump do? Fine, let's let him fight alone. NATO won't participate. Neighboring countries, allied countries won't participate. Okay? I'll win on my own and I'll charge a toll to pass through there since it's me, right? And I'm really holding those guys back. Then the international criticism starts, right? People latch onto that, but I'd do the same. I think you would too if they let you fight alone. And when you got that victory, you would just take the bonuses and share them with those who didn't participate, who didn't help you. So that's the case with Trump, to be fair, right? Telling the truth regardless of ideology. MOLUSCO has been talking a lot of crap, even taking advantage of it, right? Of this media narrative. The media, which for the most part has forgotten its role. A role that should be the voice of the people. They forgot about that, right? And became the spokespersons for those who have money. Unfortunately, many of them became corrupt. Please be strong. It's 4 difficult minutes filled with lies. I haven't even watched it yet. I didn't even want to, but I said I'd watch it with you. I want to thank Paulo Amandrois very much here. A big hug to him. And our dear brother Filmes Históricos, who sent me these 2 separate tips, right? But they fit together like puzzle pieces. Those 2 little pieces that were missing. Let's watch it together, be very strong, but let's go.
Engineering students are trying to turn what they've learned into a more sophisticated product, especially in cars to be used with biodiesel and ethanol. This is the fantastic new thing that's happening. And why is this important? Today there's a tweet from President Trump. There's a tweet from him saying that he's going to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is that channel between Iran and the rest of the world where Iran doesn't allow ships carrying oil to pass. He tweeted Luis Mercadante saying that he's going to clear it. But for each ship he clears that he gets out of the strait, the owner of the oil has to pay him 20. That used to be called piracy. Isn't that right? In the past, that was called piracy. So, an important state like, wait folks.
Yeah, I should just listen to this quietly here so I don't go on any further. But piracy is what he did, for example, with B&Ds, right? Embezzling thousands of reais from taxpayers through this institution. If you go to any hospital, and unfortunately my sister has been hospitalized for over 10 days, you'll see the state of calamity. My sister, for example, she's at the Hospital de Recife under renovation. And the structure, my brother, is terrible. Terrible. No air conditioning. My wife felt sick from the intense heat. She stayed on the stretcher. She spent more than 7 days waiting for a bed. So, that's the situation in the country. Even so, this criminal, right, who just spoke, he thought it was a good idea to send thousands of dollars of free ice to Cuba, to Venezuela, while people here are dying, taxpayers are dying, and he's sending our money, financing the subway. In those communist countries, brother. So that's what piracy is. Trump is that guy, my brother, we need to travel. Are you going to help me with gas? No, I'm not going to help. Are you going to help me buy the car? No, I don't need the car. The car is yours, deal with it yourself. He's not going to help with maintenance either. When you want to use it, you'll help with gas 20%. That's more than fair. That's why a communist never succeeds anywhere. Just take this example. You want to buy the car, but no one helps. You go to maintain it, but still no one helps. So when this person says, you're the only one left to help me, could you take me to such and such place? Are you going there? I'm going there. But here I bought it myself. I paid for it myself. I maintain it myself. If you want to go, you should at least pay 20%. And that's already a great deal, right? That's true with Trump. It's not piracy. That's simply capitalism in its essence. Now, what he did and keeps doing to this day, because look, these scandals that keep coming up, right? With the retirees INSS Banco Master, this is what happens when the gods on Olympus are fully entrenched. A prosecutor general's office that simply doesn't work. A media establishment that's been bought off. And him, right? And in the highest seat of power in the country. And even so, the absurd things he does, the things he does, are so big that they still reach our ears. Now, we'll only really know what's going on there when he leaves office. When someone else comes, if someone else comes, right? Someone who is actually honest and starts to expose things because they have to be exposed. It's like taking over the management of a store, let's say. And in this store, the employees were stealing, the supplier was delivering less merchandise. So, when you become the manager, what do you have to do? I'm going to do an audit right away. As soon as I sit down there, I'm going to do an audit. I'm the manager now. Davi, your manager. I'm doing an audit. I won't cover up anything from the previous management or it'll end up on me. So that's pretty much it. We're only going to find out about the corruption, right? We'll only know how much wealth was taken from our country when someone honest is in charge to uncover and reveal it. There's no way to have good government with so much stealing. Let's keep listening to this drunk's nonsense. Let's go.
The United States, which I think fought piracy for a long time, can't turn into a pirate now. In other words, they shouldn't charge because the Strait of Hormuz is their responsibility. It wasn't closed. It wasn't Brazil that started the war with Iran, was it? Did Brazil fire any shots? No. Did Brazil kill anyone? No. He was the one who started this war. Well, and we cannot accept that the war provoked by the United States claiming that Iran wanted to make nuclear weapons. What I can say is that it's a lie, because I was in Iran in 2010. I was there with SALT, with Celso Karmadinejad, together with the president of Turkey.
Look, family, I can't stand listening to this. That's a bum, a liar, a crook, right? And I'm going to show it here, okay? Look, he's so shameless that he's saying he went there in 2010. We're in 26, that's 16 years ago. Article from Gazeta do Povo, September 11, 2026. Look here to prove this wrong. I couldn't stand listening, family. It was 4 minutes of nonsense, but I couldn't take it. Look, Iran has started work to rebuild a facility linked to its nuclear program. According to the images, it's not just talk, it's not just what I think, no. According to satellite images analyzed by the Institute for Science and International Security at the request of CNN, leftist CNN. The records indicate movement of vehicles and repairs in the underground complex Telegram 2 inside the Parchin military base, Parchin, on the outskirts of Tehran. The images show that the country has made progress in recovering a structure associated with research for the development of nuclear weapons. The first record analyzed was on June 22, 5 days after the United States and Iran reached an agreement to suspend nuclear activities during negotiations between the two countries. So, take a look. This can be checked. It's a CNN report, far left, right? Republished here in Gazeta do Povo. As soon as Trump made the deal with those guys, which, as Trump said, they didn't keep. They want it any way they can to have nuclear weapons. And any retaliation that some country might eventually make for the atrocities these guys commit, they will use that nuclear weapon not against the United States, but against the world. They are capable, my brothers, of sacrificing their own lives in attacks. Because that's what they learn. They'll get 70 virgins if a psychopath like that, a terrorist like that, wipes out a daycare full of children. In their sick minds, they think they're going to paradise for what they did. The cause of the entity they follow, which is not God, it's an entity, right? Because they performed this service for that entity, they're going to get 70 virgins. And they'll have the vigor, the drive of 70 men. Actually, of 20 men, it's 70 virgins for a guy with the vigor of 20 men. That's what they think in their sick minds. So they volunteer for that, to destroy. Old men to take their lives, right? Like Holocaust survivors, like they did over there in Israel. There's no negotiating with these guys, my brother. Now, why does Trump keep trying to negotiate? Because Trump has already been stopped. You don't see it. Because the problem today, my brother, is this polarization. You know, the guy says, I like Trump, so I won't say that. Then I'm against it. So the guy just criticizes. He doesn't tell you the truth. How are things really happening? Congress has already approved it. They prohibited Donald Trump from making decisions without consulting Congress. Now he needs approval to carry out new attacks. Here and there he tries a maneuver, finds a loophole in the law. Yes. But he no longer has the same powers he had at the beginning. Why? Because the population was manipulated once again by the mainstream media. And they felt it in their wallets with higher prices. Because you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. There's a price to pay. The population says, I want cheaper fuel. What I care about is the higher cost of basic groceries. This also increased in the United States. So that guy who used to support Trump stopped supporting him. He lost a lot of that initial support he had. And what was the consequence? When the system sees that the guy who's trying to fight back lost support, then they go after him and start taking away his power. And that's what they did using the hammer. Exactly. That's exactly what they do here in the country. Here in Brazil, it's blatant, right? But over there in the United States, they just watch. Look, the people stopped supporting, so they went after him, and they did. So Trump is already tied up. If he had done it that day, when he only had 24 hours, Israel had even put up a countdown clock. If he had carried out that attack to end this mess, to finish off those guys, today he would be in jail. Yeah, my friends, he would be in jail. Everything was already set to arrest him if he had ended this mess for good by destroying the Iranian troublemakers. And that's what I've been telling you, my brothers. There's no way you can win like this, because if you look at Xi Jinping, if you look at Putin, they start trouble with whoever they want. They eliminate whoever they want, opponents. In China, they're even shutting down churches, people praying. It's not even anyone trying to take power or raise awareness. Just preaching Christianity as it is has irritated the government. They've arrested people and destroyed churches in China. That's just to show you what they do. Imagine what they do to their opponents. Picture someone who criticizes their regime, gets arrested, vanishes, and is later found floating somewhere. And the press covers it up. I mean, a big part of the press, right? So, my brothers, it's a very tough fight, because Trump needs popular support. He needs to win the election if he wants, to get re-elected. While the others pretend, no, I'm going to have an election, I won it myself. Sometimes no one else even shows up to compete, right? So it's very difficult, the fight is very unequal, right? And you still have to listen, right? To drunk people talking all this nonsense, these absurdities, even though the images from the rotten media themselves, right, make it clear that yes, Iran is working to restore its nuclear weapons plant because they were already working on that. That's why those areas were destroyed. As if that wasn't enough, they insisted and keep insisting even now in this latest agreement. And it's obvious that if Trump manages, by chance, by some miracle, to win this fight, with his hands and feet tied, which is what they did to him because, man, I can't say that for sure because I don't have proof. Just to be clear, that's my opinion. If you do the math on the losses, they're in the trillions, in the trillion range that Iran has because they sell a lot of fuel, right? They're largely responsible for global organized crime, bringing in a lot of money. These guys calculate the losses. If we fund politicians in the United States, what's the loss? It's the loss from funding those guys versus the loss if Trump gets what he wants. It's obvious that it's cheaper for them to pay whatever it takes for this international left to keep doing the work they're doing. So that's what's really happening, right? I hope I've made this clear for you. Those are the facts. I would really like Trump now, just like some people do. Now it's not burning, my brother. What kind of bomb is this on the internet, right? It's 24 hours, it's the final stretch. It's these absurd headlines. Because we know that the truth is much more bureaucratic and much harder. Here I try to bring you the real deal, my brother. This is the reality of what's happening. Trump, if he manages to do it, will charge a toll. And he should, since nobody wants to help him. And he's fighting this battle with his own resources, right? So, nothing could be more fair. Since no one wants to join in and only criticizes, right? Let him stay with the good ones. But I actually think it's very hard for him to really come out victorious because of all these restrictions they've put on the guy. That's it, brothers. God bless you. Take care. We're in this together. Bye.